Welcome everyone. My name is Adam Acquistapace. I'm a certified specialist in wine, and I appreciate all of you guys from coming over here. Today we're going to talk about the region of Madiran, Madiran appellation. The title of the presentation is "The Power Out of Obscurity in the Forgotten France." What an interesting name. A couple of things. I've got you. Each of you are going to have a glass of wine in front of you and a note sheet. Contain yourself. Don't drink the wine yet. Just wait. We're gonna get to it. So the sheet will have some blanks in it. So as we go through the presentation, feel free to make notes, and you can really follow along. It's just there to help you. These are your notes. And as we go through the presentation, feel free to ask questions. But we will have some time at the end of the presentation to ask. All right. What are we going to learn about today? So a few things. Well, first off, let me tell you why we're going to do Madiran. Last spring, I was in the western part of France. I was in Bordeaux, and I took a day trip down to the Pyrenees. So I drove down through the Gasconade down towards the Pyrenees. I stopped off in the Armagnac region, and I sacrificed myself for you, and I tried as much as I could. But as I drove through, I stumbled across this place called Madiran. It's a teeny tiny region, and I thought it was very interesting, and it really has some historical significance. And there's a few different things about the region that impact the rest of the wine world. And so these are I'm going to show you. So first thing we're going to cover is Madiran's location, the history, and the laws. And within the location, we're going to talk about an area called Pacharonc du Vic-Bilh. And then we're going to answer the question, why is it forgotten? The grape varietal Tannat, the process of micro-oxygenation, its creator, its purpose, and some controversies that surround it. We're also going to identify the most important producers in Madiran. And at the end, we're going to taste this wine, and then we're going to talk about some classic wine and food pairings. So let's talk a little bit about look where is Madiran. Has anybody been to the southwest France before? All right. Have you been to Madiran before? All right. So southwest of France is located in the just north of the Pyrenees, right next to the Atlantic Ocean. I want you to pay attention to a few things. Notice how the region is really by itself. It's a little red region that's circled. But look at the other two rivers, the Garonne River and the Dordogne River, and where they go out into the Gironde estuary. That's Bordeaux right there. That's going to be really important. And we're going to take a little bit closer look. So I've got a few things marked on here. Like I said, pay attention to the rivers. There is a river that runs through Madiran to the Atlantic, but it's not navigable. Okay. So the river, the region of Madiran is also called Madiran and Pacharonc du Vic-Bilh. Pacharonc du Vic-Bilh is another region that shares identical borders with Madiran. It's very unique. And then I have duck farms. So I say duck farms because the duck and foie gras is a very important part of the economy in the southwest of France. And then I have down here, it says lots of sheep. That is the Pyrenees, or on the other side of the Pyrenees is Spain. Tons of sheep, lots of sheep cheese. It's really a big integral part of the cuisine down there. So ducks and sheep. But pay attention to those rivers. So this is a picture actually from Madiran, looking down we're looking southwest into the Pyrenees. It's beautiful. It's literally out in the middle of nowhere, but it looks like you're in Switzerland. I mean, so Madiran is rolling hills, but once you go into the Pyrenees, it's beautiful. It's snow-covered peaks. The whole area is isolated, but it's beautiful, and that acts as a natural border. So the question is, why is it forgotten? So the region is forgotten because it's been around for a long time. It was actually first planted by the Benedictine monks in the 11th century. So why would something that's been around since the 11th century, why would that be forgotten? Well, Bordeaux is the port. Bordeaux has the port advantage. Remember I said that there's a river that runs through Madiran, but it's not navigable? The other way, you have to go up through the Gironde estuary, And so the only way to get your product to market is you had to move your wine north, outside of what you could sell in the local market. So what Bordeaux did about 700 years ago is they created the Police de Vins and the Grand Couture. So the Police de Vins was a rule that they created that disallowed any wines from outside of Bordeaux to sell their wines or to move their wine through the port prior to December 1st of the year of harvest. And so if you couldn't move your wine into the port, by December 1st, Bordeaux had essentially saturated the market with wine, thereby basically crushing the rest of the wine industry for the rest of the market. There are a few other wines that became well known, but for the most part, in the Southwest, there's not a whole lot to be seen. In the Grand Couture, so they created an export tariff that applied to all wine that came through the port except wine from Bordeaux. So protectionist policy at its finest. Also, like I said, the region's isolated, but phylloxera in the 1870s devastated all of the vineyards in Europe, and Madiran was not an exception, and they really didn't replant a lot of the areas. So basically, this is kind of like a new old region, and right now, since transportation is not the issue, it's becoming fashionable to find, especially on the restaurant side, the retail side, to find interesting wines that are from obscure regions of the world. And so some of those things are pushing the excitement towards regions like Madiran. So a little bit about the laws and the rules. So the European Union and the wine business, they love laws and rules, and they create laws for everything. They tell you how to grow the grapes, how to plant the grapes, when to harvest the grapes. So Madiran is actually two things. Madiran is a town, but it's more like a town like Folsom, like there's not even a stoplight. And then it's also a region, so think like St. Tammany Parish. The appellation was created in 1948. It's got to be about 11.5% alcohol. The wine must be dry, absolutely dry, aged for at least a year, and it has to be 100% red. There's no white wine in Madiran. This is what's kind of interesting. So the vineyards in Madiran must comprise at least 40% Tannat, the vineyards. But the wines have to be at least 60% Tannat, and can be up to 100%. But the wine, if you're blending the wine, it must be at least 60% Tannat. They'll sometimes blend the wines, or often blend the wines, with Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and a local grape variety called Fair Cervado. But Cabernet Sauvignon, pretty big and rich wine, or grape variety, but they actually use that to soften up the wine. And also, which I'm going to show you in another slide, is it has a unique and interesting soil structure, and it has a pretty neat name. It's a combination of clay and limestone, and they call this combination of clay and limestone grep, G-R-E-P-P-E, grep. So Madiran, being a pretty big region, but not a big grape growing region. I put on here a little bit of stats from 2016. The total hectares planted are about 1,273 hectares, and the total production is about 6,200 hectoliters. So it's similar plantings to the region of Margaux in Bordeaux, if you guys are familiar with Margaux. And to give you an idea, it's about 700,000 cases. Hess Winery makes more wine than the whole region of Madiran. All right. Gallo probably makes more wine in 2 or 3 days than the whole region of Madiran. All right. And I put at the bottom, the New World and Old World collide, and that's what's an interesting part about Madiran is it has some more New World significance. But one other thing, this is a little bit of a footnote. So I talked to you a little bit about Pacheron du Vic-Bilh. So there's no white wine or white grapes grown in Madiran, but there are white grapes grown in Madiran. They're just not called Madiran. They can't use the name. So there's another appellation called Pacheron du Vic-Bilh. You will never see these wines. The dry white wines are a little bit similar, like Côte de Gascon, which is a little bit further north. These wines are 100% white. They're a blend of Corbu and Petit Manseng. And when I think about these wines, I think of a little bit more similar to white wines from the region of Vouvray in the Loire, made with Chenin Blanc. It's kind of a chameleon grape, or a chameleon wine, where you can have the same grape made in a lot of different styles. So in this case, the wines are made sweet, dry, and dessert. But like I said, this is a little bit of a footnote. It's not as important. It's more obscure, but I just thought it would be interesting. So this picture here is actually the highest hill in the region of Madiran. This is it's owned by Montus. This is the Latier Vineyard. This is we're looking southeast, this out into Madiran. This is the top of the hill. This is the best vineyard in the whole region. It's the most famous, makes the most expensive wines. It's beautiful up here, but it is super steep. So I'll show you this. So this next picture, remember I told you about grep? So this next picture, this is what grep looks like. So this is a combination of clay and limestone soils. And as you can see a little bit in some of these pictures, it's actually put together. It almost looks like they smashed it together, where it almost makes big balls, but you have to break it apart. So this is from Chateau Bouscasse, which is one of the other famous wineries in Madiran. But the winery is right through here. But as you can see, the picture doesn't do it justice. This hill is quite steep. So what is Tannat? So I said Tannat, the tough guy of vinifera. So Tannat is part of Vitis vinifera, so European grape varieties. This grape variety is super tannic, real deep dark color. It has a real high skin to pulp ratio, and so by that you're going to get a real deep dark wine and lots of tannin. To be honest, if this grape does not get ripe physiologically or phenolic ripeness, it's not good. It's hard to drink. It's very difficult to drink. But the wine is hard to drink as it is, so that's what we'll talk about, some other techniques. They add Cabernet to soften the wine up. The wine really likes oak because it really needs to be softened, and oak will help soften up the wine. So the name, tannin, Tannat, is it a coincidence? I don't think so. So the wine has a real high procyanidin content. So that is one of the compounds that's found in red wine that's heart healthy. So for the health people out there, the more Madiran you drink, the better your health will be, the better your heart health will be. So the wines can age, but very often are consumed young. And then also a little bit of a footnote. There's out in the whole world, really the only other place that Tannat is grown is the region of Uruguay. And in Uruguay, this is the most important grape variety out there. And so that's really between Madiran, or the southwest of France, and Uruguay. Those are the two places for Tannat in the world. So this is a picture of Chateau Montus and Chateau Bouscasse. So that's that old world, new world. So these are old oak fermenters, vertical oak fermenters. But I want to show you this building that's in. The roof in that building is 700 years old. It's a UNESCO protected building. So this is older world style winemaking, and over here, so I said this is the new world. This is new French oak barrique that they're using at Chateau Bouscasse. So what I said before, what the heck is microoxygenation? Has anybody heard of microoxygenation before? Yeah. All right. So microoxygenation was born out of necessity. Remember how I said this wine is so tannic? We're going to taste it in a few minutes. But they wanted to make these wines taste better younger. So Patrick Ducournau from Chateau Haidee in 1991 developed a process in which he introduced tiny amounts of oxygen into the tank and allowed the wine to absorb the oxygen as it rose to the top. And so what happens is that as the oxygen molecules attach themselves to the tannin molecules, And that's how this wine, basically it's going to soften up and soften the tannin, and it's going to soften the tannin in wine. It's going to make the wine easier to drink younger. It has a similar effect that the aging process. It's like speeding up the aging process. They've also found other benefits to microoxygenation. They also call it microboulage, and it's also to stabilize and enhance the color and to stabilize the color in red wines. But it has its detractors. Is it too much manipulation? Are we getting out of the pureness of wine? But you know what? There's Randall Graham, who owns Bonnie Doon in California, who is probably one of the most interesting people in the wine business. Even his opinion is he feels that microoxygenation is the ultimate form of élevage. So now we're controlling the oxygen intake in the wine. It's very interesting. So it's a little controversial, but the thing is everybody's doing it. And they're doing it in Bordeaux, they're doing it in California, they're doing it in Australia. It makes some of these wines taste better younger. Not sure what it may do to the long-term aging ability of the wines, but definitely it has a profound impact on the mouthfeel of the wine. So this is the process where they put it in the bottom and it rises to the top. So there are 4 important producers. Alain Brumeau, who owns Bouscasse and Matus, he does not use microoxygenation. Bolloré from Domaine Berthelieu, more old world style. Patrick Ducournau, Chateau ID, so one of the pioneers, and Chateau Lafite Teston, which is actually one of the wines we're going to try. All right, so let's taste the wine. So I actually brought this wine back from when I was in Madiran because we have such a hard time finding wines. So what y'all think? Big, rich, powerful. This is very similar to Bordeaux in style.
It's just 100%.
So this wine is 100%. This wine is 100% Tannat. This is what 100% Tannat tastes like. It's aged for a couple of years in wood too.
What year is the wine?
2012. You like it?
It's very good.
All right. And so this is definitely a food wine. So it goes fantastic with cassoulet. Cassoulet is like the when I had it, I thought like the gumbo of the southwest of France. Pretty delicious. And also I had it with some lamb and assa arati burger. Actually, with this wine, there's all that lamb and all the the great cheese down there. But
Sheep's milk cheese goes well with it.
Fantastic, unbelievable. Any pairings you think? What you think, Kenny?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, work. All right. Well, that concludes the presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned something. Did y'all have any questions about anything?
What's the alcohol in that?
Oh, it's a good question. 13.5.
And the microoxygenation,
Yeah.
is that in a reverse thing, the concept of using a Venturi?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So what they're doing is they're introducing oxygen into the wine in the aging process, and what it does is it also helps to stabilize the wine, but you're softening up those tannins. You're making the wine. You're making it taste good. It's easier to drink. I mean, otherwise, if we'd have to let this wine stay open. I mean, as it is, this wine needs to open up and breathe for a long time.
And the Pacharon du Big Ville,
Yes.
is that Basque in language? I mean, what's the that's not French.
That is a great question. I don't know. I'm
It
not
sounds
sure.
like it would almost be Basque, because they
Yeah, I
have
don't
that weird language, or either that, or I don't think it's Catalan.
Yeah, I don't know the origin of the name, but I know that the wine. I should have probably brought an example. It would have been interesting to try, but I know that the wines are good. Any other questions about anything?
What's the production?
On this one, I'm not sure. I think maybe 25,000 bottles or so. All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate y'all coming. Thank you.